You have to start somewhere, but you have to start early because growing these partnerships take time. I was a nobody in this industry. I had to kiss ass, I had to travel everywhere, and you need to get partnerships going. You need to get the strategic partnership manager and then demonstrating the value that you could bring to them, the added bonus of how we can make money together before you even send any invites out. The thing is, you need to start raising. And no one knew what the hell this was. How is the Forge Summit? What does that mean? And it's really for relationships, for devices, and collaborate wins for each other.
Hey there, you're tuned in to Beyond Handshakes with Nick
and Nish.
We talk to partnership legends from across Australia about what it really takes to build meaningful, lasting collaborations. And more importantly, we delve into where partnerships are headed next.
Each episode, we dive into partner playbooks, revenue share models, and go-to-market strategies with leading experts who build ecosystems that actually scale. Whether you're looking to grow through alliances, co-marketing, or joint ventures, this is where we break it all down. Welcome to episode number 3 of Beyond Handshakes, where we dive into partnerships and what makes them great. Today, we have a very special guest, but before that, I'd like to introduce myself. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Nish. I head up partnerships at pay.com.au. We're a B2B payments and rewards platform. And over to Nick, my co-host.
Yeah, thanks, Nish. Nick Worthington, I'm a partnership manager at Convera, a global foreign exchange and payments company. And I've been in the partnership space for about 6 years. Together, we're super excited to be undertaking this initiative where we're getting to know some of the other partnership friends and colleagues from around Melbourne and beyond, just to find out insights about the profession, share war stories, and get to know the people behind the partnership manager.
Yeah, and today, like I said, we've got a very, very special guest. We were having a chat just beforehand about Phil's kind of deep kind of background history, and it's quite fascinating. So I think there's a lot of topics that we're going to dive into today. But a bit of background. So Phill actually is the Chief Revenue Officer at Kynection, and he leads up the partnerships and sales function there. He's been with Kynection now for just over 3 years. So Phill, thanks for joining us. Lucky number 3. Would love to kind of learn a bit more about your story and background.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. It's an honor, I would just say, and I love doing these things and talking about my history and my partnerships and my journey as a young little man to where I am now. So thank you. I guess it all started in the hospitality sector. I started at La Piquetta in Mentone in Melbourne.
Oh, great Italian restaurant. Yeah.
Italian restaurant. And I started as a little waiter myself when I was 17. And then I started transitioning and getting my RSA when I was 18. And then I started being the bartender there. Then I moved along to do the pizzas. I was a pizza chef there. And then finally I did a diploma in hospitality and I started getting into the chef world. So I started cooking on steaks or the parmigianas or the pastas.
Are you a medium rare or rare guy?
I'm a medium rare.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And then that's really, I started really there and I was there for a good 6-7 years in hospitality. And then I started working as well as a forklift driver during the day. So my day was from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. I would be doing picking slips and forklift driving and loading giant pallets into Lynn Fox trucks. And then I would finish there and then put on my apron on and start up to get it from 5 to 11 or something. Yeah,
that's a good combination. Forklift driving fairly well paid back in those days.
It was okay. It was one of the biggest things I remember was moving 42 kilo toilets. And stacking them on a pallet, and you just get 12 on a pallet.
Wow.
And putting that into a 40-foot container, or taking it out of a 40-foot container and putting it into a truck. So that was tough. But what that did, and I did that for a good 2-3 years, just that back to back. I purchased my first property at like 24, and I was one of the only friends in my friends group that actually did that on their own. And that really set up my first investment. From there, I did a bit of a gap where I lived in Portugal for about 1.5 years in Europe.
Why Portugal, out of curiosity?
Parents Portuguese. I was actually only my family Portuguese. I mean Australian. Both my brothers are Portuguese, and there's a 16-year gap between us. I'm the accident, the only one born in Australia and the youngest. And then I decided I wanted to live there in my roots, and I played semi-professional soccer.
Oh, wow. Yes, I remember you telling me this. Yeah, that's very impressive.
So I did that for about 1.5 years, and then I decided to come back.
Yeah.
And then I wanted a career shift from hospitality. So I started becoming a police officer. So I did all the tests, and I was going to go to the academy in Glen Waverley, and then had a bit of change of heart and decided to go down the private sector. And there was 2 different areas in private. There was becoming a security bodyguard or becoming a private investigator. And this is where I was like, what do you mean an investigator? Because I was like, what does that actually mean? I watched some Sherlock Holmes and stuff. And then the first thing I did was, there was 3 check boxes I need to check. What's the qualification? What's the money like? And how much work's out there? Funny enough, they were all pretty impressive, pretty well done. I was like, okay, I can do this. So I did about 1.5 years of law studies to learn all the ins and outs of the law in Australia. And then I decided to go down, there was 2 routes, and there was multiple ways in investigation. It can be a circumstantial investigation, and that's really just taking interviews and statements from people that do work cover injuries and so on. And then there was like a forensic investigator, which, I don't know, I'm not a big fan of blood, so I kind of stay away from it. So I didn't want to go there. Yeah. And then there was like fire investigators, so they kind of like do investigation of how a fire got started and so on. But then there was the private side, which was the field side and the surveillance side. And what that really entailed was you would receive work from kind of 2 different areas, domestic and commercial. And domestic was the fun stuff. That was like cheating spouses, that was locating missing people, that was car repossessions, that was serving documents. And then the other side was more on the work cover and TAC claims. So we'd have a case study at an insurance broker, and they'll be like, you need to investigate Nish for 20 hours and to see if he's still legit or he's able to go back to light duties, because you know he would claim a work injury, and he's been on work off for 3 years. But he's still saying there's significant injury.
So this is government work. They get government.
This is government work.
Yeah, they're engaging people like yourself to go out there and
exactly right.
Ensure the validity of these claims.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And essentially anything in their affidavit that says, oh, you know, I can't lift 10 kilos above my head, or I can't do that. My job as a surveillance operative was to get video evidence of them doing things that they shouldn't be, or even if they're doing nothing and they're just completely legit. So whatever I did, there was always going to be an outcome if they did something or not. The hardest ones were the psychological claims, because it's not a physical evidence of lifting. It's, you know, I've been bullied, I've been you know, stressed at work, I've been having threats and whatever. So it's all mental, and that was quite harder to obtain evidence. But there was some people that I cracked.
Did you ever get caught out during your co-op operations?
A number of times.
Oh yeah,
and I will share a story on that one too. But I'll tell you a story now about it. So, let's just say there was this gentleman, and what he was doing was putting drugs in greyhounds to make them run faster.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it was a thing on those.
Performance enhancers for the dogs, right?
And so one of his things, because he got caught doing it, was I needed to make sure that he's no longer like 100 meters away from like a racetrack or one of these breeding things, because he's completely expanded there. And I remember this was up in Bendigo, and he was an ex-jockey as well. So, he did horses as well as greyhounds, sorry. Anyway, he couldn't be a track near any of those. And I remember I had to get there 4 a.m, and I live down the Mornington Peninsula. So it's a good 4-hour drive to get there at 4. Left at midnight, got there at 4, and then it was a period from surveillance from 4 to like 8 p.m. Long hours in the investigation. And there's no toilet breaks, there's no lunch breaks, so you can imagine how that is. You know, you got a bottle in the car. I don't want to go further on that. But
can imagine.
And the females, well, because a lot of female investigators I did work with as well, because we used to do 2-ups where 2 investigators work on the same job. A lot of them are female, because they're less, I guess, conspicuous. Like you wouldn't know a female investigator flying. You me looking at you like, this dog's dodgy already. So I don't know what they did in the car. Anyway, I remember this gentleman. He got up and left at like 4:50 Okay, so it was quite early still. I saw the lights come on. And the first thing you do when you arrive at a premises is you do like a reconnaissance of the area. Mm-hmm. So you know where the map layout. So if he does leave his premises, what's the most likely he's going to turn left or right? It's not like the movies where you just tail someone behind them. Mm. You got to be invisible. You got to make sure that you're not in their review mirror. So they leave, and you kind of have to wait and go behind them. And then once they turn the corner, you creak around the corner. And then once they're out of your blind spot, you go and you race up. So that's kind of how you have to tail people. And people will do anti-surveillance tactics, and then things like they'll put the indicator to turn left, but they go straight. And if you put the indicator left and you turn it off and you go straight, that looks obvious that you're following. Yeah. So you have to do all these things. And anyway, I remember this gentleman left, and then he actually went to a race course which he wasn't allowed to be in. And I couldn't get video evidence because it was so dark. And I didn't have this military grade night vision cameras where I asked for. But I remember that he went there, wasn't allowed to be there, was there for about 4 hours. He went back home. I followed him back home. I felt everything was okay. But when you follow someone that early in Bendigo, there's no one else on the road. So when you're behind them, it's kind of obvious. Anyway, I remember that he left again and went to a local IGA. So I followed him to the IGA, and I told my boss, and I said, hey, he's gone to the IGA, you don't need me in there. So I kind of want you to get evidence of his face and all that. Okay. So I walk in there. Yeah. And what I do is I grab a shopping trolley and I do my shop as well. Because it just makes sense. Because if I'm there just following a guy doing
kill two birds, right? Yeah, may as well. Yeah.
So I'll do my shop. And then he looked at me and I was like, because I've been in the industry, I was like, this guy knows I might be following. And he turned around and he goes, why are you effing following me? Why are you following me this morning? And you never engage with the prospect, with the plaintiff or the subject or whatever matter it is. So I just looked at him and I just went crazy at him. And I just went, what the hell? And he's, 4'5". Jockey. I did a lot of MMA. I did a lot of professional.
You thought you had it covered.
And I was like, this guy, I don't know how to do this guy. And then he's like, oh shit, this guy's crazy. And then he went to the checkout girl. This guy's following the checkout. Poor 14-year-old girls. Like, I don't know what you want to do. This guy's just buying some whipped cream. I don't know what you want this for. Anyway, I just had to call my boss and say, hey, I'm burnt. I got to get out. And that's how I got caught. So it happens sometimes, unfortunately. The best investigators that have 20 years experience still get caught.
Yeah.
And there's people that are out there that they're always looking up and left over their shoulder to see who's following them. So that was one story. But many more to come.
Yeah, I love it.
That was the story that I got caught. And then it was interesting. After doing that for about 10, 12 years, I decided to hang up the boots, or should I say, or hang up the camera, but because I guess the government cut a lot of hours and surveillances.
Right.
So a lot of my work was work cover.
Yeah.
So when they cut a lot of work in that, there wasn't much work here. So I started working as a personal trainer.
Yeah.
So I thought it just made sense. I go to Thailand once every year, and I do a 6-week boot camp, and I'll do something. Yeah. And the last week I'll do a fight. And then after Muay Thai, I kind of got into wrestling and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Then I started doing MMA and started doing MMA fights. And I thought I might as well just do some PT as well.
Yeah.
So I was combination with PT, PI, and at the same time, it was the first time that Uber got released in Victoria, and it was still kind of like not legal, illegal.
Yeah.
So what I would do is I'll be an Uber driver because I was a registered Uber driver, and I used to do a lot of work in Geelong because that's just where a lot of the work cover claims were.
Yeah.
So I'll do an Uber to Geelong, get paid for the Uber, drive my way there, and then I'll do like 6-7 hours surveillance. And then I'll get another Uber back from there, and I'll drive someone else back to Chelsea area. Yeah. So I was kind of one of the first PI Ubers that was doing that. And then in the evening, I was just doing my personal training and stuff.
This is proper portfolio career stuff. Before it was even a thing. It was before it was even a thing. This wasn't a thing. Trailblazer.
And then I started getting a lot of the other prime investigators onto it. It's like, okay, that makes sense. Like I'm driving already there. I might as well just drive someone there with me. So they started getting onto it too. And then after the grind of personal training and burning 6,000 calories a day, because it was just full on. I would train people from 6 a.m. to midday and then have a quick lunch and then train people from 4 to 8 and then do my training after that. So I was just getting burnt out. So I was like, all right, I need a career change. What can I do? So I decided doing like 4 or 5 different courses on Udemy.com, so the online university. And I thought, like, let me get into because I was into online gaming, I was like, let me get into what is it like to be a graphic designer or a game developer. And so I started doing started doing a course in coding, did a course in development, and then and some in graphic design. And then I was like, what these industries demand of you is not only to do that work, but build a portfolio on the side.
Right. Yeah.
And that portfolio is what you kind of use in a resume as a CV to go to these bigger game studios or these bigger, IT kind of companies.
Yeah.
I kind of didn't want to go down that route. So I looked in, I had already sales experience in hospitality, but that was B2C. So I was like, what's B2B? And then after 250 hours of YouTube videos of how to be a BDM, how to be a CSM, how to be a channel manager, how to be an SDR, I kind of fell in that area. I was like, I kind of like this kind of world. It's like sales. I'm motivated by numbers and bar charts, of how many calls I make and how much money you can make. I decided the sales department is it's the lifeblood of any business. If sales don't come in, the business is not growing. So I think it's the most important. I think it's more important than product, because who's going to build your product unless you pay them? So
Phill, sorry to interrupt, but can we just drill down on that? So 200 odd hours on YouTube. It's fascinating. A lot of people, when they get to that stage in their career, they're starting to think formal, MBAs or whatever, dropping 100K on an MBA, which is purely online anyway these days. But that's fantastic. So it just sounds like there's an element of resourcefulness that you've taken from the start, from those early days working as a forklift driver, working in restaurants. That resourcefulness is carried through in your career.
Absolutely.
Is that something that you feel like you were born with, or because a lot of people default to the easy options?
What I've noticed is if something I do like, I'm 100% committed. If it's MMA, you can't put what I like to say, you can't be half pregnant in there. You can't have 1 foot in, 1 foot out, because that other person, I've signed a contract with them to break my arm, to put me asleep, to knock me out. So if I don't put 100% in that, I'm going to be in big trouble for my health. So I kind of took that same discipline and that hardworking kind of mindset into the professional life. If I'm going to go into this world of sales and partnerships, I need to, and I'm already 10 years behind these other people that are already established in the SaaS world, in the partnership world. So I need to catch up. So I found really great motivation through these YouTubers. That's what they are. They started as an SDR at Oracle, and they've built up to a BDM, they've built up to a channel manager, to a CSM, to an account executive. And I just kind of got into that and learned that lingo, learned that industry, learned that SaaS, who are the competitors. I kind of got in that space. I did about 9 different interviews and multiple different companies. A couple were from Nick Byler. I don't think he's from Shark Tank. He's Australian entrepreneur. He's got multiple ventures. And I applied for a couple businesses he had. Another one was Podium, which is like a company that kind of do like the surveys after when you purchase a product. They send text surveys and all that. And then being a Tesla fanboy and a guy that owns a Tesla, I applied for a job for Tesla. Out of the 164 applicants, I got in the top 3 after 4 rounds of interviews. And then in the top 3, I didn't get the job because the other 2 had already connections with Tesla employees.
Right. Okay.
I went to the competitor. I forgot the name.
Polestar?
Polestar, yes.
Okay.
The competitor Polestar did the same thing. They offered me a job. And then I looked into this other company called Kynection, and I was like, what the hell is this about? And they offered me a job too. But what the difference was between those two was Polestar was sales, but showroom, it was more retail side. And I thought, retail.
B2C almost.
Still kind of B2B, And there is paths to go to B2B, I guess, fleet management.
Probably felt a bit weird also rocking up to Polestar with a Tesla as well, right?
Yes, and I did. And they were like, at least you're an EV fan.
Can I borrow your charger?
Yeah, I did charge myself there. It was great. It was great. They got a great showroom there. And then, I looked at Kynection. And I originally went for the BDM role for Victoria. But the pressure was you have to make this amount of sales this month. Because sales, it's really on commission. It's on to meet your targets. You don't meet those targets, you can't have sales. Yeah, that's how it is. So they thought, you'd be great as a channel manager. And back then, I did some research, but I wasn't super alert what that was. So
what year are we talking?
This was like 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
Yeah,
okay.
so it's still, but then once I learned what channel manager was, same kind of principle with YouTube, but I did it with podcasts. So again, over maybe 60, 80 hours of podcasts of people speaking about channel relationships, building them, the effect, what they do. So my position at Kynection was the channel manager. And that was originally, liaising with the current channel partners in the ecosystem, which are more on the accounting bar side. So these are bars that implement accounting packages like MYB Acumatica, Sage Intacct, Oracle, Microsoft, stuff like that. They're consultants and they implement that package. But in order to get that ERP for that company, a lot of them would need a bolt-on solution. Watch what Kynection is. And in that world, we are referred as an ISV, an independent software vendor that bolts onto the accounting package. So they would bring us into opportunities and they would say, Phill, you're the channel manager. I've got a great relationship with you. I need you to bring yourself into this deal and to help us deliver this one solution for this particular customer that might have multiple entities with multiple disjointed software, or they're still on paper processes and there's no automation. There's still a lot of double data handling. These are kind of the challenges that Kynection solves. So they would bring us in. And originally, all I need to do is really grab that information and handball that to the salesperson to close. And I started doing that, but then I realized the salesperson just wasn't closing it as I wanted. So I said, hey, I'll just close it as well. And then my role kind of shifted as a channel manager as well as a salesperson. I'll do the closing as a salesperson. So I'll receive the opportunity, demonstrate the platform, scope out the challenges and requirements, and then draft the proposal and then close the sale.
Out of curiosity, at what stage, I guess, in Kynnection's life cycle were they at?
Yeah, I started doing that about a year and a half in.
Okay.
Yeah. The first year was really trying to find, all right, I need to know everything about the SaaS world, software as a service. I need to understand how our product fits in the industries that we work in. And the industries we work in is what we say, anything that's dangerous and dirty. So that's construction, that's manufacturing, that's mining, field services, transportation. So they're cool names, but you have to dive into what their workflows are. So I had to learn and educate myself everything about transport. What are the trucks? What are the pre-starts? What are the compliances they use? What's the regulations around National Heavy Vehicle Regulator, the chain of responsibility, the routes they would drive, the truck and dog is the slang, the terminology they use in that industry. Because when you talk to that industry with their terminology, they're more confident and more peace of mind that you are the right product for them. So really learning a lot about transport, then moved into construction, buildings like this we are in now, but also more on the civil side, building roads, building tunnels, asphalting, concrete pumping, and then knowing those assets, those compliances, those safety documents that need to be used, and how they track milestones and tasks of a particular project. So if a project is building the West Gate Tunnel, what's involved in that? Okay, there's earthworks, there's preliminary works, there's concrete works, and what's involved in those works? All right, there's these many assets, there's this many people, there's many subcontractors, and then learning the awards and the time of attendance, and then the subcontractor management, the inductions. So that was another work. And again, YouTube was my savior as well as the customer, because they would just tell me, this is my issue, this is my problem. And I would say, take me on site. Give me a day in the life of your operative operations manager. I want to know what he does on the day. And that really gave me insight of that industry. Even though I had no really construction background or trade background, but spending a couple of days with these guys and how they drive their trucks and how they fill out their forms gave me insights. I know what they want. They want big buttons on the app. Truck drivers just want to drive. They don't want to do that paperwork. They want to click all these tabs. Let's automize and make it simple. And that's the kind of approach we put in Kynection. It's a bottom-up organization where we target the field staff, because if you get good data on the field, your back-end financials, your Power BI, all your reporting is going to look immaculate. So that's why it's quite important getting that. And then in the channel world was just building those relationships with not just the accounting partners, but anything that do any consulting or advisory, they're my kind of partners. People like yourself and pay.com.au that offer the reward system. Again, those reward system are to customers that are our mutual customers as well. So having them benefit the reward side of things, but also benefit the operation side, it makes sense.
Talk me through the accounting partners that you have. Do you sit there, for example, Xero or QuickBooks? Do you sit there on their marketplace as a tile?
Correct.
And so when the accounting company's doing their pitch to the enterprise client or the client, are they bringing your name up and then Xero's coming to you, or how does that all pan out?
So Xero is interesting. So we are accredited partners. So we do pay a lot of money to these accounting firms every year to be listed on that marketplace. And then another thing is accredited APIs. So because we're connected to Xero, we've got to make sure that the maintenance of the data that's pushing and pulling between the systems is accurate and working. And
that all falls on you.
That falls on us to maintain. And they won't put us on the marketplace, and that's proven. You know? And that's the same with Telstra and everything else. We have to go through a lot of cybersecurity qualification and reinsurance to make sure our product works.
To that point as well, I think it's also important to kind of get buy-in from the respective sales team. So like, how do you actually do that? Is that through incentives, whining and dining the sales guys? Like, how do you actually like motivate them to keep referring your business?
It's all commission structure. So it's funny, we've got partners that don't want commission. They just want the best outcome from their partners. But I like to give commission to partners because it gives them an incentive. It's another another avenue for revenue for them. And we pay really healthy commissions if you bring us into opportunities that are closed. And recurring commission, because we want to look after, because we feel like if this is your customer already, you've got the rapport with them, you're the success manager for them, you want to make sure they're okay. So we want you to continue that relationship. And if and we've got our own CSM that looks after the customer, but they might not say stuff to us, they'll say to the other trusted advisor. So we all need to be on the same page here to produce the best outcome.
It sounds like you've got your ideal partner profile reasonably dialed in. Do you experiment a bit in your role outside of that IPP? Do you look for to go down rabbit holes?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I first became the channel manager, there was a list of KPIs that you had to do for the year. I did all mine in 6 months, and I was like, this is too easy. And I said to the management team, I want to do my own. And one of them that I wrote was like, Kynection is strong in Australia and New Zealand, but never gone out to it. And I said to my KPI, in the last financial year, I want to secure an American client, and I want to get an American partner, okay? And I want to branch Kynection global. And it's like, no one's done that there. So what I did is the use of still early AI tools. This was, before the ChatGPTs, I did a lot of cold calling and a lot of cold emailing, a lot of cold LinkedIn messaging to every single partner in our ICP across North America and Canada. Did a lot of meetings at 7 a.m, a lot of meetings at midnight. And the only thing I really got was I was able to be credited on the Sage marketplace, but not on the Acumatica American marketplace. So it was quite difficult, but I got approved on the American. That was the first one. You get some sort of approval on that marketplace.
And did you leverage your, existing relationship with the Australian team, or how did you actually?
No. I went direct with the American Sage team, and they were able to say, hey, if you want to go to the marketplace, these are all things you need to do. Liaised and created work for the project developers in Kynection. So I need these integrations built with Intact. I need them working. I need them proven. I need to demonstrate to Sage that our product worked for their product, and then you can listen on the marketplace. That was the first hurdle. Once that was happened, it gave me a basis to contact people there, because I'm like, hey, we're on the marketplace. Have a look. We're legit. We're not a scam.
So added that credibility.
That credibility was huge. And then finally, there was a big partner, and I'll give a shout out. Their name is CRO Consulting. They're about, they've got over 2,500 employees across the East Coast and the West Coast of America, of North America. And they had an opportunity in California around field service. And field service around, they do like day porter services, which day porter in America is handyman in Australia. So they do handyman services, parking lot sweeps and all that. And I was like, but they had a lot of field staff. They've got vans and trucks they manage. They do service jobs. They do maintain. They consume materials. They've got a lot of subcontractors. They speak Spanish. And they needed an app.
Don't tell me you're fluent in Spanish now as well.
I can speak Spanish.
Oh,
yeah.
Not surprised. Yeah.
And then they introduced me to this company, and they classify themselves as a small business. They've got 400 employees. That's small for them.
Yeah, okay.
But that's just the California division. They've got a Texas and a Florida division, which they said, if Kynection works in California, we'll go to the other. So it's got some merit there.
Yeah.
Did the demonstration. Sales cycle went for about 4 or 5 months, which is okay. Some sales cycles go for 2 years in B2B.
Yeah.
This was quite well did quick. Did enough in the presentation for them to trust, and they're a client, and it ticked off my KPI as a first American client.
Wow.
First American client, first Sage Intact client in America, and first partner in America. All 3 milestones for this for our company.
So how did you land on that consulting, CRO Consulting? How did you land on them as a
marketplace
partner?
listing?
Yeah.
And obviously the reach out
right,
to them.
okay. Yeah.
And so many gatekeepers. You know, you've got SDRs to SDRs to SDRs to BDMs, and you need to get the partnerships guy. You need to get the strategic partnership manager, and then demonstrating the value that you can bring to them, the added bonus, how we can make money together, how can we achieve solutions.
But to that point, right? I think everyone, as you move up the chain, everyone has different KPIs, so it does actually fall under their remit. So it's a testament to you and really selling the vision and the dream, right, of that value add.
That's exact. Partnerships and sales are very similar. I am co-creating the vision for them of what they achieve and sustaining that, you know, in as much as possible. And that's what I did with that CRO Consulting, which is that partner, and that's what I did for that customer, which is in middle of project execution. So hopefully next year, I get a trip to go to America and actually meet them in person, because selling $100,000, $200,000 platforms over online meetings is difficult.
Yeah.
I had more success when I do go on site, look in the CFO's eyes and saying, this is what we're going to achieve for you.
Yeah.
I can close a lot easier. But when you're just, 14-hour difference and doing online meetings is tough. But they saw the beauty, they saw what we can achieve, and fingers crossed, everyth's going to work well.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
it's a good success story.
We get the case study, it's good.
Interesting on your thoughts, Phill. So you're new to the partnerships. I mean, relatively speaking, 3 years or so you've got under your sleeve, but obviously you have consumed a lot of content on the space. The reason Nish and I have set up this podcast, or one of the reasons, is to explore the various iterations of partnerships, because it seems to be in vogue across industries, across the world at the moment. But in a lot of instances, businesses are not fully comprehending what partnership strategy they should adopt. Should they go down the affiliate marketing space? Should they go down the referral partner space, or look to take a similar trajectory to what you guys have done, which is in the market spaces? So have you found yourself go down any rabbit holes where it hasn't worked, or has your employer sort of said to you, hey, why don't you try this, and you've looked into it and hasn't worked out? Or
I think it's important to do all the above that you said. Marketplace listing on comparison software sites like Capterra and G2, presence at trade shows and exhibitors like that, collaborating with associations, for example, the VTA or the QTA, which is the Queensland and Victorian Trucking Association, because their members are customers for yours. So you've got to work that angle. Working the reseller approach as well. The most difficult challenge I have, and Nish could attest to this, is educating the partners of what you do and what the ICP is,
Mm.
because they're not going to sell the product as good as you. But all you need is just the door open, and I can take it from there.
Mm.
But what does it take to get that door open?
Mm.
And they need to trust me because it's their client.
Mm.
They're not gonna, because it's gonna fall back on them if it goes horribly wrong.
Mm.
So there's a great amount of trust and rapport built before we even get to that stage for them to open the door and trust me to sell the product. So you have to start somewhere, but you have to start early because growing these partnerships take time. I was a nobody in this industry. I had to kiss ass. I had to travel everywhere. I had to go to MYB head office here in Common and meet everybody and gave them merchandise and getting them on the radar. Massive presence on LinkedIn, if you notice, a lot of followers. I like people's stats. I reshare their content. I comment them. They're all things that have to be important because you need to get there on their radar. They think of Kynection, they think of Phill. That's how you have to see it. Yeah. Anything that Kynection comes up, Phill. Either it's marketing, branding on a billboard, or if it's a podcast like this, all these things are touch points. And what we've realized is it takes almost 17 touch points before they book a demo. Touch point's a podcast, a touch point's a marketplace listing, touch point is an EDM that went out, a touch point could be a LinkedIn post. It's quite important. Things that we've noticed that haven't gone well, back to your question, because I haven't forgot about that, is the trade shows, we've started to decrease them a year, particularly because when you're at a trade show, you cast your web out and you just hope you get that one person that actually has the decision-making skills to purchase a product. But a lot of times you just catch them and you're like, oh yeah, I'm really keen to see it, and they forget about it. So it is a hit and miss. You know, you spend $15,000, $20,000, you get a 3x3 space at a trade show.
It's not just that; it's the time investment, right?
The time investment.
You're there for a week.
The travel, like we travel to the Brisbane Truck Show, which is a 4-day event on Saturday and Sunday. They work over and travel up there, travel back to employees, freight all the equipment, stand up and sell, hundreds of $1,000s. But what it takes is one deal closed, the ROI is there because our product is over $50,000 buy. And then you got recurring SaaS. And there is success that we've done that. So we continue to do it, but we're slowly dripping off because there's sometimes we've done it, then we get nothing. And that is a full loss.
Nish showed me a fairly funny photo before you came into the podcast studio just now. Uber, they bought an exhibition booth in the exhibition hall at Jeff's shed, and they've stuck a high chair in there with a QR code.
Scan here for Uber courier service. So it's a new product that they're trying. So I think it was manned by a person for an hour or so, but I think she gave up and they left it. But
wow.
Yeah.
I know.
I'd love to also touch in because you did something I found quite spectacular. You ran your own event, the Forge Summit, which we were actually proud to be partners and sponsor the prizes. Talk to me about kind of setting that up from scratch, having no experience actually creating an event. I can only imagine the level of work and detail. Like, how did you and Courtney kind of come to that decision? What was the thought process actually building that out?
Shout out to Courtney, the CEO of Kynection, our visionary. It was interesting. It was something we always wanted to do for customers. Originally it started off just being a customer thing. We just want our customers, get them in a nice house and then showcase all the cool stuff we do. Then I spoke to the partners, particularly in these bars, and they said, we should do an event with just partners, okay? But not every partner, because we compete with these other guys, but just partners that are niche to their industry. I'm like, okay, that sounds pretty good. And then someone just was like, let's get a massive warehouse and every single partner comes. Who cares if they're competitors? And everyone just goes there and it's like a swap meet of people. I'm like, that sounds a bit crazy. Let's kind of tailor it. We'll keep it around about 200 people, which is what we got. And we just want people, partners that are associated to what they do, that don't compete with each other, and just show that when you're part of Kynection, this is the ecosystem of partners that you get available with. Because we don't do what pay.com.au do, we don't do what MYB do, we don't do what Focus do, which is all around Power BI dashboards and so on. We didn't do what Netstock do, was another partner and more inventory management side of things. There was a non-for-profit organisation there. There was Future Pulse, which primarily on the Salesforce implementation side of things, is not what we do. So we wanted to bring them together. And the whole point was Netstock brings some of their customers, we bring some of our customers, Mile bring their customers, and we're all together to not just demonstrating our stuff, but running through presentations of where is the industry going in the next 5 years? How's AI taking off? How's technology going to impact? How are we going to do this? And that's kind of what the basis was. Now, running an event, that was not in my portfolio or in my CV, not in my job description. And I said, hey, why not add some extra? I'll just become a
How many hours of YouTube did that take?
Well, it wasn't. I didn't watch a lot of YouTube on that one. So
I don't think YouTube can help you much on that front.
Help me on that one. But event coordinating was quite interesting. So the first thing, before you even send any invites out, the thing is you need to start raising. So, and no one knew what the hell this was. What the hell is the Forge Summit? What does that mean? And it's really forge relationships, forge alliances, and collaborate wins for each other.
Great name.
That's what we're. And the theme was all Vikings.
And the activation event at the, where was it? Was it Port Melbourne? No.
We had it at Pullman at the park.
No, the activation event beforehand where we actually forged the coins. Yeah.
So I'll get to that.
Yeah.
Because the first thing was getting the venue. That was always the first thing. Venue, because we need to put deposit down and we need to do that. Like how much, how many people we're going to get. We don't know how many we're going to get. Let's get something between this range. So the venue was the first thing. We looked at a lot of different venues and Pullman by the park that fit all our requirements that we needed. Next was obviously the catering, of course, that food and catering, and then obviously the AV. Very big money. So they're the things we needed in, and we needed deposit. We can't get deposit because we want sponsors deposit, but we can't get sponsors because they don't know what it is. So there's all this kind of thing I had to manage. Once all that kind of was laid down, it was really getting the sponsors committed, and selling it. Again, it's a sales thing. You're selling them a position at an event that, I can't guarantee results, but this is what's going to be about. This is what we're going to discuss. These are the couple of people that are going. So that's kind of what I got. And we got about 12, 14 sponsors at the event.
Wow. Incredible.
My goal was, to make something like 100K just for sponsorships. And we got about almost that. And that kind of paid enough for what we needed to really get this started. And then it was getting tickets. Then it was just all this stuff around it. So you're creating the ambience, creating the, getting the speakers, getting the schedule for the speakers, doing the day sheet. I didn't realize how long a day sheet is. And that is 12, 15 years.
Minute by minute.
A minute by minute of that. And it was a 2-day event plus an evening. So we did an evening prior to the event where we went to a place in Port Melbourne where they do a lot of metalworking. And we created these coins with a stamp on it where you get to forge the coin yourself. It's a copper coin. You put it in the furnace, you cool it down, you take it over, you stamp it with this thing called Gretel. And then essentially you can stamp your initials and whatever else on the coin to make it. And what that was for us was a symbolization, a token that you're part of this event. Because every time we go to these exhibits and events, a couple photos you forget about it. At least this is something you get to take on. So, I remember that time I went to that event. I did a forging thing. So you've got a story out of it, and that's kind of what I want to create, a memory. So we did that, and that was really fun. It was very low casual. We got people to meet each other. It was warm introductions everywhere. Then the 2-day event, and that was running an event. It's never going to go the way you want it always. So there's always a lot of stuff behind the scenes. And I remember I was there to, I think, 1 a.m. before the event started, just setting up all the booths for my sponsors. Because I believe they wanted the best. So I wanted to provide the much best. Getting all their logos right, and then like the curtains and everything like that. So that was it. And then once that event concluded, which was, somewhat success for the first one, but it got the brand out there. And the brand is what we use, we ride on. And now what we create now are these mini roadshow events where we go state to state and we do a fun activity plus a presentation at the end of it. And what we did in Melbourne a couple of weeks ago is we did axe throwing. So there's an axe throwing thing. We do a challenge. We've got the pay.com.au logo on the board. You have to throw your axe at it. If you hit it, you get a free bottle of scotch. We collaborated together with bringing customers and partners from all different shapes and sizes to just network together and cross-populate the conversation.
So you call these, is this the Forge series?
We call this the Forge Roadshow. We did Brisbane in February. We just did Melbourne in September. And we're doing our little Forge dinner this week. Just with partners, just to see how we can collaborate together and win. And then we're going to do Sydney in March and then possibly Perth and Auckland next year because we have a lot of customers in Auckland. I want to take it there.
Very smart move because apart from anything else, you're creating numerous opportunities during the year to spend a lot of time with your partners and with your clients. So you're creating excuses for engagement.
Yes.
Along the way, and by the sounds of it, unique engagements that are not really being done anywhere else. So,
well, there's two outcomes I want to achieve out of this. One is partners to mingle with my other partners and them collaborating and getting wins. I've got partnerships with all these people, but they're not talking. So one of the things we're going to talk about this week in our dinner is trying to get wins for our partners as well. Because I've made another KPI to myself is I want to get 10 wins from my partners. I want to get a win for Nish. I want to get a Nish for Myom. I want to get a Nish for a win for Sage. I want to get a win for HubSpot. Like these are all my partners, and I want to give them wins as well. The second is the ultimate CSM play. Like getting NPSs from customers is tough, and getting case studies, testimonials. Invite them to an event, get them lick it up, get them throwing an axe, get them talking to the developers that are building their project, fly them in. Those little things go a long way. For Christmas, what we do is we give hampers to customers, and some of our prestige customers, we give them a food truck for the morning for all their work. Free truck, 6 a.m. They get all whatever food they want.
You've mentioned the acronym VAR a few times. Is that reseller? Verified something reseller?
Sorry, I should have said that. Valid added reseller.
Okay.
So that's just a partner that just that resells your product for you.
Okay.
Not in a way where they go into the nitty and gritty and implement it. I do have some partners that do that. They love the product so much they want to dive further. But it's just more that reseller agreement which you just selling me. You're bringing us into opportunities and vice versa. I believe in a two-way street. You give me an opportunity, I'm going to try my best to give you one too.
Cool. Well, I think we're running out of time. I think we can keep talking forever, right? Like hours on end. But thank you again, Phill, for joining us today. Thanks, Nick. And looking forward to the dinner tomorrow to kind of continue conversations.
It's been fantastic, Phill, and your diverse background leading into partnerships is I love it.
I think the main thing is just the importance of continuous learning. Like I wouldn't be surprised if next year you ring me up, he's like, I'm going to be a rocket scientist, right? You've proven to me that anything is possible. With Elon,
Thank you. I completely agree with that. It's you got to have drive. You got to set your mind in it. You can't half-ass anything. If you want to do something, do it to its fullest and see it through. Don't stop. See it through.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.